Hello. I'm assuming I'm in the group this time and not posting to my to my personal profile. We'll give it just a few more minutes for people to come and then we're going to dive right in because we have a juicy topic today and it's one that we often don't like to talk about because if you're here, you love what you do. So, designing your exit isn't really something you're thinking about right now, but I can tell you from a lot of experience, 17 years to be exact, that the farther ahead you plan, the easier it is to reverse engineer what you want. And I'll follow that with your exit doesn't always happen on the timeline or in the way that you think it might. So, for a lot of founders, the business isn't just something that they built, it's how you've been introduced for the last 20 years. It's where your calendar comes from, your community, even your confidence. So when we talk about exit, we're not just talking about money, we're talking about meaning. And the fear, spoken or not, is always this: who am I when I'm no longer in charge? A successful exit isn't just a liquidity event. I want to make sure you understand that. It's a transition in identity for you. And if that part isn't handled well, it doesn't matter how strong the multiple is. You may walk away rich, but very restless and very unhappy. And today we're going to talk about how to separate who you are from what you run. And I'm going to pull a quick thing up here. If you're new here and you haven't seen one of these videos yet, my name is Jennifer Eckhart, and I created Entrepreneurial Freedom to solve a problem that most business owners don't recognize until it's too late. Our work focuses on both the operational systems and the personal transitions that we're talking about today for the first time in this group that make true freedom possible. Because even with a great team, most businesses still rely on the owner in ways that quietly limit your growth and ultimately reduce your value at exit when that time comes. We help you design a business that runs and grows without you so that when the time does come to exit, you have options and you have peace of mind and you have it all the way until then as well. So let's jump in. There are 4 identity anchors that must shift before you're ready to exit. So, you've heard me talk a lot about awareness and how important awareness is for any leader at any level. So, the first one is from CEO to builder of capability. That's the first anchor, CEO, that must shift to builder of capability before you are ready to exit. Your role is no longer to run the business, it's to design who can, right? Dan Sullivan puts it as who, not how. He wrote an entire book about it. It's a tremendous book if you haven't read it yet. So I highly recommend it. I want you to ask yourself, what would change if my job was to build builders, not steer the ship? Now, if you're like most of the owners, the founders that I've worked with, you're way more excited about building builders than steering the ship and worrying about schedules, deadlines, details, and so forth. So ask how your energy changes, how your life changes, and really how the business changes if you shift in that way. All right, the next one is from daily relevance to long term resonance. You may not be in every meeting, but your values, frameworks, and philosophies should be. And that's why we always include purpose in the ops flywheel as the lens with which we look at the business, and conversely, how we use the business lens to look at the world. So I want you to ask yourself, what about me do I want to be embedded in the business without needing to show up? For a lot of our clients, this also becomes about legacy. What do I want it to mean that I was here, that I built this business? What do I want to continue long after I'm gone? So, number 3, being the face, from being the face to being the founder. And that really means transitioning from this public leader or the ambassador role that we talk about when we talk about identity shifts to a strategic presence, or the investor role when we talk about the identity shifts that we see in our clients. So I want you to ask yourself in this place, where do I need to step aside so that others in my organization can be seen and rise? Okay? These are tough questions, especially if you're used to being the face, the identity of the business, and vice versa, right? The business is your identity. It's time to start separating those for a number of reasons, but that's the path to freedom, both now and when you want to exit. So these things all apply there. Let's go to the fourth one. That's the fourth and final one. From business as an identity to life beyond the role. And this one really hits me hard. I love what I do, and it can consume every minute if I let it, because my mind is always working around how we could do this better, or how we could create this new way of looking at this that would improve the lives of our clients. I love doing that. But it's a hard, honest question that we all need to be asking ourselves. Who am I without the business card? And I've kind of been on that journey for the last year. So I want you to ask yourself, let's ask ourselves together, what are you creating, pursuing, or becoming outside the company? What happens when the business is no longer the center of our world? And it's tough. I'm here to tell you. So hopefully we can do it together. These are 4 shifts from really what I call anchors that kind of keep us weighed down to empowerment, possibility. And possibility is one of our core values here. What's possible for us? So I want you to consider these questions. Take them into your journal, if you will. Take them on your drive. Consider them while you go on your walk. Whatever you do for deep thinking and consideration, it's a what if kind of exercise. So the exit isn't just the end of the chapter. It's the beginning of your next identity. That next version of you, it doesn't need to be smaller. It just needs to be redefined. I am a member of the Exit Planning Institute in Denver, and that group consists of all sorts of exit professionals, from investment bankers, wealth managers, insurance people, ops people, obviously. It runs the whole gamut. And I can't tell you how many times I've heard them talk about a deal that fails, or an owner, a seller that's very unhappy post-sale because they didn't know who they were outside the business, or they didn't know what they wanted to do next. Part of entrepreneurial freedom is knowing what to do with that freedom. It's super important for you to consider that and begin to pull apart the fact that your business, and legally it's a separate entity from you as an individual. That distinction is very important, not just on paper, but in your brain as well. So yes, exit is freedom, but you can have that freedom now, and that's what we're here for. And it's only if you know who you are outside the operator's chair. That's the only way it sticks. That's the only way it works. And nobody, doesn't matter what my team and I can do within your organization, if you can't make that identity shift, it won't stick. What part of your role do you feel most emotionally tied to? Not just what you do, but what you wouldn't want to let go of. That's the signal. That's what we're looking for. And then if you're willing, share one insight from that reflection inside the group, or bring it to the next thread, because naming it is really the first step in rewriting it. Thanks for being here. I'll see you next week.